My name is Tixon, and I've walked through the corridors of time. I am a traveler, not across land or sea, but through time itself, a silent observer of epochs long past. I have witnessed mountains rise, their peaks piercing the sky over countless years, rivers carve stone, shaping the very face of the earth with their relentless flow, and the land transform over millennia, a slow, majestic dance of creation and destruction. Today, I want to share the story of a place that would become America, a land brimming with potential. This is not just a tale of dates and famous names etched in history books, but of the land and the people who shaped it, their lives intertwined with the very soil beneath their feet. Our journey begins long before maps or flags, before the arrival of written records, in a world of ancient forests, mountains and plains, untouched by the hand of modern civilization. I was there, feeling the pulse of the land before humans arrived, a silent witness to its primeval beauty. Travel with me through the ages, from the first hunters, braving the wilderness in search of sustenance, to great cities in the wilderness, monuments to human ingenuity and resilience, to the arrival of ships with strange sails, carrying dreams of new worlds and the seeds of change. Imagine a storybook with pages centuries thick, bound not by leather, but by the very earth itself. Each page a new world, a new challenge, a new dream waiting to be discovered and understood. America's story is one of courage, conflict, hope, and hardship, a tapestry woven with threads of triumph and tragedy. We'll see how worlds collided, cultures clashed, and something new began to grow, a nation forged in the crucible of history. This is the untold story, the whispers of the past, the one you feel, not just read, the echoes of lives lived and sacrifices made. Let's step back into the deep past, beyond the reach of memory, to a time when the world was young and the future of a nation lay dormant in the soil. I'll be your guide, sharing what I saw and felt, offering insights gleaned from centuries of observation. We won't rush, we'll understand each moment and decision that shaped this land, appreciating the nuances of the past. America's story isn't a straight line, a simple march of progress. It's a winding river with many streams, each representing a different path, a different possibility. Our journey starts at the source, the very beginning, a world of pure, untamed nature, waiting for its story to begin. A blank canvas upon which history will be painted. The land is ready. The story is about to unfold. The stage is set for the drama of a nation. Let's begin. Welcome to the journey through time. Prepare to witness the birth of America. Before people there was the land, a silent, sprawling expanse, vast, wild, and breathtaking. An untouched canvas stretching from coast to coast, a testament to the raw power of nature. Mountains scraped the sky, the young Rockies, their peaks piercing the heavens, still in the fiery bloom of geological youth. The ancient Appalachians, worn smooth by eons of wind and rain, cloaked in a tapestry of green. Between them, a great valley awaited the Mississippi River, a fertile cradle for the life it would nourish. Forests were dense, a labyrinth of trees, sunlight barely reaching the ground, creating an eternal twilight on the forest floor. Redwoods stood like silent gods, ancient sentinels guarding the secrets of the earth. Chestnuts and oaks painted the east in vibrant hues, a kaleidoscope of autumn colors that stretched as far as the eye could see. Silence ruled, broken only by wind whispering through the trees, the cries of eagles soaring overhead, and the thunderous roar of waterfalls cascading down cliffs. Herds of mammoths, their massive forms lumbering across the plains, giant sloths, browsing on the leaves of ancient trees, and saber-toothed cats roamed free, the apex predators of a world untouched by humankind. Rivers teemed with fish, a silver flash in the crystal-clear waters. Salmon filled the streams, fighting their way upstream in an ancient, instinctual journey. The Great Lakes mirrored the sky, vast and pristine, holding more fresh water than anywhere else on the continent. Copper, gold, and fertile soil lay hidden, untouched, waiting for a hand to claim them. The land was a treasure chest, locked by time, its riches waiting to be discovered. Every corner, from sun-baked deserts to lush wetlands, had its own unique character, its own story to tell. It was a continent of contrasts, a canvas of breathtaking beauty, painted by the hand of nature. For ages, it waited, patiently shaped by the relentless forces of ice, wind, and water. Then, one day, a new sound echoed, a sound that would forever alter the landscape. A human footstep. The first chapter of the human story was about to begin, a story of exploration, settlement, and transformation. The land's potential was about to be unlocked, its resources to be utilized, its destiny to be intertwined with that of humankind. The world was ready for change, and this vast continent was poised to play a central role in the unfolding drama. The story of people was about to unfold, a story that would forever change the face of the land. The first people arrived not by ship but on foot, crossing a land bridge from Asia into Alaska during the Ice Age. They were hunters, following herds, adapting to every environment. Over thousands of years they spread across the continent, becoming the ancestors of all Native American tribes. Some settled in the Arctic, others in woodlands, plains, deserts, and coasts. They learned the land's secrets, what to hunt, what to plant, what to heal. They built civilizations, the ancestral Puebloan stone cities, Cahokia's earthen mounds, the Iroquois Confederacy, the Lakota's bison-centered life, and the totem poles of the Pacific Northwest. Hundreds of nations, each with unique languages, cultures, and traditions, flourished. They shaped the land, and the land shaped them. Their history was written in the rocks, the soil, and the stars. For thousands of years, this was their world. They were the original Americans. Their legacy endures. The continent was alive with their stories. The stage was set for a new encounter. For millennia, the eastern and western hemispheres were separate. In 1492, I stood with the Taino as three strange ships appeared. Columbus had arrived. This was not a discovery but a collision of worlds. Europeans marveled at new plants and animals, Native Americans at metal tools, firearms, and horses. The Columbian Exchange began. Crops, gold and silver flowed to Europe. Wheat, sugar, livestock, and deadly diseases came to the Americas. Horses transformed life on the plains, but diseases like smallpox devastated native populations. In some areas, up to 90% of the native people died. It was a catastrophe beyond comprehension. The world of the first Americans was shattered. The land was forever changed. Newcomers kept arriving. The old world and the new world would never be the same. The next chapter was about to begin. The collision set history in motion. After Columbus, ships from Spain, France, England, and the Netherlands arrived, each seeking something different: gold, land, faith, or a new life. Colonies formed along the Atlantic coast, each with its own character. The Spanish built missions in the south and west. The French traded furs along the rivers, partnering with native tribes. The English came to stay, founding colonies from New England to Georgia. In the north, Puritans built towns centered on faith and education. In the south, plantations grew tobacco and rice, relying first on indentured servants, then enslaved Africans. This mix of European ambition, African bondage, and native displacement created a complex, troubled society. The land became a patchwork of cultures and conflicts. Colonies grew, clashed, and changed. The seeds of a new society were sown. The continent was transformed. The stage was set for revolution. America's identity was beginning to form. As the 13 English colonies grew, they developed their own identity, separated from England by an ocean and months of travel. Colonists set up local governments and learned self-reliance. After the French and Indian War, Britain imposed new taxes to pay debts. Sugar Act, Stamp Act, Townshend Acts. Colonists with no voice in Parliament protested, no taxation without representation. Leaders like Samuel Adams and Patrick Henry spoke out, fueling resistance. Protests and boycotts spread, tensions rose. The Boston Massacre deepened the divide. The seeds of revolution were sown in colonial discontent. A new American identity was emerging. The call for rights and representation grew louder. The colonies moved closer to rebellion. The old order was breaking down. The idea of independence took root. Change was inevitable. Tensions had been simmering for years, but they finally exploded in Boston with the Tea Party. Colonists, disguised as Native Americans, dumping tea into the harbor in a bold act of defiance against unjust taxation. This was more than just a protest, it was a clear message. Britain, in response, cracked down with a series of increasingly restrictive measures, inadvertently uniting the disparate colonies against a common enemy. Representatives from 12 of the 13 colonies convened for the First Continental Congress. They sought a peaceful resolution and the restoration of their rights as British subjects. But they also began preparing for the very real possibility of armed conflict. In the spring of 1775 at Lexington and Concord, the infamous shot heard round the world, the first shots of the American Revolution, rang out, signaling the start of a long and arduous struggle. The colonists, vastly outmatched and chronically underfunded, faced a formidable empire. yet they fought with unwavering determination for their homes, their families, and the very idea of freedom. General George Washington, a leader of immense fortitude, led the fledgling Continental Army through unimaginable hardship and against all odds instilled a sense of hope. In the sweltering summer of 1776, the Declaration of Independence, eloquently penned by Thomas Jefferson, proclaimed that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, including the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The war was a long and brutal test of endurance, but the revolutionary idea of freedom, once unleashed, could not be contained. The world watched with bated breath as a new nation, born of revolution, fought for its very right to exist. The cry for liberty, once ignited in the American colonies, echoed far beyond the shores of America, inspiring movements for self-determination across the globe. The American Revolution was far more than just a war for independence. It represented a new vision for humanity, a radical departure from the old world order. The foundation of a new nation, built on the principles of liberty and self-governance, was carefully laid. The fight for freedom, though fraught with peril, had only just begun. The world, forever changed by the events unfolding in America, would never be the same. And with the birth of this new nation, America's destiny, for better or worse, was irrevocably set in motion. Victory at Yorktown ended the war, but unity was elusive. 13 states, loosely joined under the weak Articles of Confederation, struggled to function. The government couldn't raise taxes or regulate trade. The nation teetered on collapse. In 1787, leaders met in Philadelphia to create something new, the United States Constitution. After months of debate and compromise, they designed a government with three branches: Congress, President, Supreme Court, each checking the other's power. We the people became the foundation. To protect individual rights, the Bill of Rights was added. The United States of America was truly born, a republic founded on ideals, not ancestry. It was a bold experiment in self-government. The Constitution set the rules, the people would write the story. The nation's future was uncertain, but its promise was great. The world watched as America took its first steps. A new chapter in history had begun. My journey brings us to the birth of a nation, but the story doesn't end there. America's ideals of liberty and equality would be tested by civil war, by struggles for inclusion, by constant change. The land's ancient beauty remains, even as cities and highways spread. The spirit of the first Americans endures. The legacy of colonists and revolutionaries shapes the nation. Debates about freedom and government echo through time. America's story is one of struggle, progress, setbacks, unity, and division. From wild continent to colonies to a powerful nation, the journey was long and painful. This story belongs to everyone who has called this land home. The birth of America was a process, a collision of worlds full of contradictions and promise. The story is not over, it's written every day by every citizen. The past shapes the future in ways seen and unseen. The great experiment in liberty continues. Its final chapter is yet to be written.